Hello, people, and welcome to the People Building Podcast, where today you're going to see my interview with the very interesting Bill Heinrich. So, Bill has a background which is not something I would usually subscribe to or buy into. I'm just going to be straight up about that. He's into numerology, which I don't know if there's any science that backs that up, but I will tell you for sure that there is something in Bill. I don't know if it's in numerology, but it's definitely in Bill. There is something in this man which makes him a very compelling conversationalist and an excellent linguist, in my humble opinion. So, I don't know what to say. I think that this is one of my most interesting and most fun interviews ever, but it's completely outside of my stratosphere. It's outside of the zone of what I'm normally working with. So numerology, in case you didn't know, came around prior to the 20th century and was back then known as arithmancy. It's the belief in an occult, divine, or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It's also the study of numerical value via an alphanumeric system or of the letters in words and names. So I can't really see that there's anything in this. It's a little bit like horoscopes, you know? If you're vague enough, it all fits. And you'll see in this conversation, there's a part where Bill very kindly gives me a numerology reading based on my date of birth. And I feel like the assumptions and generalizations that he made were very general. And probably if you pretend it's your date of birth and not mine, I bet you could make it work for you too. However, there is something very valuable in this conversation that I wasn't expecting. So Bill and I have a conversation about how love and surrender are so close and similar to each other. And he asks the question of who are you being in your life right now? This is what I mean. There was stuff in there where I'm like, damn, that's profound. But it doesn't make sense, this numerology stuff. But what he's saying is really profound and it really worked for me. So what does he say? He says about letting go of control. When you think you've got it all figured out, that's precisely the moment you need to let go of control. And that the only truth is in how you feel. So this is a conversation that's a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but I really liked it. So I'm going to hand you over now to Gemma from the past and Bill Heinrich, and I look forward to a conversation with you on the other side to find out what you thought about this interview. Hello, people, and welcome to the People Building Podcast. And today I'm joined by the lovely Bill Heinrich. And I will tell you up front, I was most interested to speak to this man because in the profile that he sent to me, his vernacular, his use of particular words to explain the life that he's been through were really strong. And so I just felt that I really needed to speak to this man. He's all about extreme happiness, not just a bit happy. We're going for the extremes here, people. And he didn't just have, you know, a change of life. He left his life. He left his whole life. So there's some stuff we need to dig into here, Bill. And for that reason, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself and give us a bit of your biography. Off you go.
Thank you, Gemma. That's so kind of you. Yeah, I'm Bill Heinrich, and I'm a coach, and I work with executives and business people and show them how to live in extreme happiness without sacrificing success. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a little backstory. I owned my own business when I was 25. I was very successful
Mhm.
at a
What was
young
that
age.
business? What did you do back then?
It was office products, office equipment,
Okay.
office supplies.
Yep.
Um, and this is back a ways. There were still typewriters. Let me put it that way. Anyway, but anyway, I was very successful, and we decided to sell that business and move from the East Coast out to the West Coast, move out to Lake Tahoe. Um, and I've kind of been in business for myself all the while.
Mhm.
But what happened was, I was just became more and more and more miserable.
Mm.
I kept running into major problems in my life. I now
Okay.
know I was creating them. I didn't
Okay.
know it. I didn't know it at the time. Okay.
Mhm.
And at the time, it was always just waiting for the other shoe to fall. It was
Right.
just, it, it just got to a point where I literally couldn't take it anymore.
Mm.
I had, I'd been divorced after 21 years of marriage. I mean, I just didn't understand life at all. I now know
Okay.
why. My
Yeah.
whole life was focused on getting people to like me. So I was like a chameleon,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
I change, like, if you like me, that's kind of how I got my love back then. But it
Okay.
was crumbled. So I almost 30 years ago, I just walked out the door. I said, I've got to go find out why I'm miserable. I was in a relationship and just said, I got to go find out why. And I walked out and literally uh, have been looking for the answers to that ever since, and have taken
Wow.
it to this is what I've dedicated my life to. I now know that my life purpose is to empower others so they can empower
Okay.
others beyond a shadow of a doubt. What
What?
I started learning just shocked me. It shocked me. I thought I
Mhm.
was crazy. I literally thought I was crazy because life didn't make sense. What people did, it just didn't resonate. And then somebody gave me a book on numerology, and I looked, and I was described in there to a T. I was like, oh my God,
Wow.
what the hell? Like, I'm not crazy. There it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now I want more. And
Yeah.
digging, researching, finding the things, why the suffering was created and how to
Mhm.
replace it.
Okay.
And as I did this, I removed more and more and more of my toxic behaviors,
Mhm.
consequently was more open to what I like to refer to as universal energy. Okay. Because
Nice.
what I've learned is we live in two dimensions. This was the big
Okay.
mistake I made. We live in a
Yeah.
physical and a non-physical dimension.
Okay. Okay. All right. This is a lot already. I have about 20 questions brewing.
Oh, the
So
fire.
I'm curious, when you were in the place where life was not going the way that you would want it to go, and
Mhm.
everything was kind of falling to pieces and going wrong, where was your head at then? Were you in the blame game, or were
Oh
you
yeah.
in a victim
Judgment.
state, or
Yeah,
both, or what
absolutely.
was?
Absolutely.
Okay.
E, all of the above.
Right.
Judgment, blame,
Yeah.
shame, guilt, victim. Look at what they did to me. Look at this.
Mhm.
Control, manipulation. I
Yeah.
can go on. Betrayal,
Okay. Yeah.
low self-esteem. I mean,
Yeah.
I had the whole package. It was just
Yeah.
raw survival in the physical.
Okay. Yeah. And did you did you do anything so prior to kind of saying, right, that's it, I'm stepping out of this and I'm going to go off and find some answers? Did you feel like you were trying to correct it? Or did you feel like you were
Mhm.
just kind of caught on the surf and just being, yeah,
Out of control.
it was out of control? Yeah. Okay.
And the funny thing is, now I know my life is out of control, and yours is too. I know that for a fact. However, I know what it
Yeah.
means now. My life was out of
Yes.
control then because there was no consciousness in it. It was
Uh-huh.
all unconscious reaction, survival,
Yeah.
everything in reaction to the external.
Yeah. It's interesting you say about the consciousness side of it. So did you have self-talk? Were you chattering to yourself in your head?
Constantly, constantly.
So I'm guessing it wasn't very good quality stuff that you were
It was
saying
all
in.
it was no, it was all survival based conversations.
Yeah, yeah.
How am
Okay.
I going
All
to
right.
do this? I've got to make this much money this month. Got to do this.
Yeah.
Got to get that taken care of. We're behind over here. You know, the up and down financially. The just
Yes.
it was just nuts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you reached a, I guess, a kind of crisis point where it was a case of this needs to get sorted. Something else has to happen here. And so you went off on this journey. And I heard you say there that you came across something called numerology. So I think I have a very basic understanding of what that is. But for other people who have no idea whatsoever, fill us in. What is that exactly?
Well, it's amazing. There are 38 different life paths
Mm-hmm.
with billions of different combinations, billions of different combinations. Everyone has life lessons to learn,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because you have life lessons to learn, and it encompasses this broad reaching spectrum, let me just call it. Because you have lessons, you could be standing in the middle of it, suffering from something,
Mm-hmm.
and you have no idea that that is causing it. You have no
Right.
idea whatsoever. So
Okay.
we are living with blindfolds on, making decisions based on who we aren't rather than
Mm-hmm.
who we are, trying to
Yeah.
survive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what was your
It's amazing
first
how
idea?
someone could stand in the it's amazing now that I'm in coaching people, they stand in the middle of it and can't see it. It's just it's fascinating to see. Once they get
Is
it,
it the, yeah, that you can't see the wood for the trees kind of a thing?
no. It's it's like this. The analogy would be this. If you were born with one leg, for instance,
Mhm.
okay? Well, that's how you do life.
Yeah.
And like it's your life. It's like it really ends up not being that big a deal in a sense. I mean,
Mhm.
it is it, but that's what our life lessons do to us too. We
Mhm.
compromise right from the very beginning to survive
Yeah.
because you're not going to go through life with one leg without crutches and a way to, different ways to
Mhm.
move, and you just adjust to that deficiency,
Yeah.
and that's what we all do.
Sure. So on some kind of mental or emotional or spiritual way, we're just kind of adjusted to the things that we don't know that we're missing out on.
We all think everybody sees life like we do, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Right? Isn't that crazy? And we're all different,
Yeah. Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah. So tell me about the numerology experience. What specifically happened there?
Well, do you want to know yours?
Yeah, do it.
I need your date of birth.
Okay, so it's the 3rd of March,
Hmm.
1979.
Okay, so we'll start right away. Your overall life lesson is about freedom and discipline. You're always in. Uh, when you work, you'll
Yeah.
work. You'll almost go obsessively, and when you play, you'll go play obsessively,
Hmm.
and you'll find ways to skirt around it. Your overall life lesson is around that area.
Hmm. I
You
would
understand what that's
definitely
about?
yeah, I understand the work bit, the play bit. That's that's really not on my agenda. It's all been
And
work.
and that's why it's out of balance right
Yeah,
away. There
yeah.
has to be some play in there.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's freedom and discipline. Now,
Yeah.
it isn't just in work, it's in the way you think. It comes into many other things. Things that lead into
Mm-hmm.
that are you're very energetically sensitive, and um, your expression. It's not surprising that you have a podcast because it's a form of expression.
Yep.
You may have had challenges in the past with your expression, or you may have challenges now with your ability to speak up, or you may speak up too much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then cooperation and balance. There'll be issues in those areas
Okay.
uh, with with others, and in the balance in the way you do things. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
I think so. Yeah, I think that
It,
does.
bel- what's so strange about numerology is when you first look at it, some of the things you're so blind to, you don't even recognize.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you become aware and you start, you
Mm-hmm.
go, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you research and read it more and
Yeah.
more and more keeps getting uncovered. It's really
Yeah.
fascinating, and
Where
easy
does
for
it
any.
come from?
Oh, it was started back with Pythagoras in like,
Wow.
14, what, 1500s. It's been around.
Yeah.
Everything in the universe has a pattern. Everything
Mm-hmm.
has a pattern. The universe is all connected by a vibration. Numbers have
Mm-hmm.
vibration, music has everything's a vibration. Everything.
Yeah.
And when you look at life from that side, your life changes instantly. When you look
Mm-hmm.
at it from the physical side of what you see in life,
Mm-hmm.
all you're going to get is lack of clarity, work, and suffering. That's all
Yeah.
you can see in the physical life.
Mm-hmm.
But in the non-physical, so
Yeah.
it's about energy. There's only two emotions: love and fear. Everything stems
Okay.
from those,
Yeah.
right?
Big ones.
Hey,
Definitely the big ones. Yeah.
the only ones, really,
Mm.
everything comes off from those, because when you
Sure.
look at them energetically,
Mm-hmm.
the energies that radiate from that, there's language that goes with those energies, with fear.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's anger,
Yeah.
resentment, right? Right. If you look at it
100%.
energetically. And for everybody listening, just be with this: your heart or your head, because
Mm-hmm.
fear can only be generated from your head. It is not real. When you're
Mm-hmm.
in your heart, you cannot have fear. It's
Mm-hmm.
impossible. Love and fear can't coexist.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at it energetically, it's how you show up to what's going on in the physical is all that
Mm-hmm.
matters in life. It's about
Okay.
your own wellness, your own
Yeah.
ability to love and take care of yourself. And with
Mm-hmm.
that, you have plenty to share.
Okay. So I'm curious about your journey with this. What was the maybe penny dropping moment for you where you realized, ah, I've got some out of whack things going on here with love and fear, or my freedom and discipline are not in sync with each. This is not balanced. Like, when did you get your aha moment, and what happened to you then?
That's a great question. I got it within the first month.
Okay.
I was reading a book called Facing Codependence by Pia Mellody.
Mhm.
I was in chapter one, and she had a list in there of 8 or 10 things. And, you're codependent if whatever on the
Mhm.
list. I had this burning bush moment halfway through there of how I was protecting myself and protecting the people that I was most angry with
Mhm.
in my thought process.
Right.
How I was being defensive. I didn't have the capacity to read it and be honest.
Mhm.
And I saw defensiveness was the definition of my life.
Mm.
I didn't just have a cement wall around me. I
Mm-hmm.
had bricks that we put in a moat.
Yeah.
There was no
You went for
drawbridge.
it.
You had
There were
like
alligators,
yeah,
cannons.
yeah. Yeah, the problem was the alligators got inside the castle, but
Wow.
yeah, there was all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 You
And
know,
that's
and when
energy consuming, right? You're going to be using up a lot of energy to live your life that way.
it's it's a complete drain,
Yeah.
a total drain.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, what happened in the moment, Gemma, is I saw the defensiveness, and it was like my life passed before my very eyes, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw all of the life I had missed out on.
Mm.
And I collapsed on the floor and cried for 3 days, literally.
Oof,
It just
that's
took me to the
intense.
sadness I'd been running from all of my life.
Yeah.
So defensiveness is the root of all evil. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
referring to defending yourself if you're in a physical confrontation.
Sure. Sure.
I'm talking about how we mentally protect our stories, and we're in a place of
Yes.
protection.
Yeah.
That's fear-based.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to protect.
Yeah.
There's nothing to
Yeah.
protect.
It's
With
so
love,
what's coming? Go on, carry on. I'll interrupt in a minute.
with love, the more you give, the more you get. There's no protection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I'm thinking about when I've worked with young boys
Mhm,
who are manifesting anger. You know, it's really coming across as if they're very angry boys. And I've worked with them in such a way that I've said something to the effect of, I think your anger is a cover up for
absolutely.
sadness
Yep.
or something like that. And
Listen.
the problem is there's power in anger. So it's way more enticing and attractive
Mhm,
because I look big if I'm angry. But if I'm vulnerable, then I look broken and
mhm,
then no one will love me.
mhm,
And I've watched their lip begin to quiver as they've acknowledged what I'm saying and have allowed themselves to unfurl and let that vulnerability out. And then the work begins from there. It sounds very similar to what you were describing there.
it's you were describing moments I've been through myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We we feel that vulnerability is a weakness
Mm-hmm.
when it's our greatest strength.
Yeah.
The challenge with vulnerability is there are guideposts that go with it, and they aren't the same guideposts that go with anger.
Sure.
And so one
Yeah.
must just learn the guidepost.
Okay.
But one repels, the other attracts.
Yeah. What's the connection between love and vulnerability?
Well, ultimately, it would be an emotional connection, an
Mm-hmm.
energetic connection.
Yeah.
That's vulnerability is the only thing that can give you an energetic connection. And
Okay.
the only way that you can connect authentically
Mm.
with someone is energetically. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot connect intellectually. You can have a
Yeah.
conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no heart in it. Vulnerability allows us the opportunity, as you were talking about that, and anger being a cover on sadness, and I think back to some of the sadness that I've been through. The depth of it was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
once I was to the other side and could appreciate the
Sure.
cleansing of it all.
Okay.
And you see, it's that energy of that sadness that you and I can connect with, but
Mm-hmm.
we just have different stories that go with
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I can
And
appreciate that. Yeah. So for you, when you talk about connecting with someone energetically and how that might
mhm,
be different to connecting with someone intellectually,
mhm,
how do you know the difference? If you were describing it, is it a different sensation? Is it a
completely.
different, yeah? Explain it to me. What's the difference in the sensation?
Well, it would depend upon what the environment and circumstances are.
Okay.
Okay. However, somebody coming from their head is going to be regurgitating and more than likely come from a place of establishing their position or one of defensiveness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Someone coming from their heart would just speak with clarity
Mm-hmm.
to whatever it is they're going to be creating with this individual, whatever information
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for. Let me give you
Yeah.
an example of it. Back a few years ago, I bought a house and I bought it directly. The owner carried the mortgage on it for me.
Okay.
And I was supposed to pay it off in 9 months, have my loan taken care of, pay it off in 9 months. It was August and it was due on September 1st. And it was August debt that I did have the mortgage. And I'm
Right.
sitting there going, man, I just like, I just don't want to stress. I want total clarity about this.
Mm-hmm.
I had clarity. I didn't have the mortgage at that point. I picked up my paperwork, found out where the fellow's office was, and went down
Mm.
there without an appointment.
Okay.
The receptionist saw me. Oh, yes, I know you. We get a check from you every month. Oh, yes. I'd never met him. Is he available? Yes. Went in, said, the reason I'm here is I can't pay off your loan. Here's
Mm-hmm.
why I can't pay it off. I realize it's your loan. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I wanted to make you aware of it. This is where I'm at. Whatever you do
Mm-hmm.
is fine with me. That's
Okay.
exactly what I told him.
Yeah. And
In this case, he looked at me and he said, I don't need the money. Just keep making monthly payments.
amazing. We love that man.
There was nothing added to the contract, no
Yeah.
document signed.
Yeah.
I said, I think I'll have it done within the year. Yeah, whatever. Just keep making payments. Literally, that was it.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, from a defensive standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I would have been in so much fear and terror. I wouldn't have, people don't speak to creditors.
Mm.
They stay away from them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where fear takes us.
Mm-hmm.
I have not found in all this work that I do any situation that I can be in that I just can't find a simple solution to any complex situation when we look
Yeah.
at it energetically from a place of love.
Mm. Mm. Okay. In that situation, the example you just gave, how was it that that was? Because it sounds like quite a smart decision. Sounds like there's definitely some decent logic that went on there. You know,
From my part,
yeah,
with
you
the
know,
house,
yeah, 100%.
no, it was a place of surrender.
Ah, I see. Oh, nice word. Okay. Yeah,
Right? Do you
place of
see the
surrender.
difference?
Yeah. Yes, I
See,
do.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you used your head and you did this. It
Yeah.
was no.
Yeah,
I went.
you made a
No, I
smart
went to
play.
uh,
Right.
what is what does surrender look like? We don't know what it looks like, but we know how it feels.
So
Surrender is a
it's
very powerful word.
is a surrender almost like being okay with the uncertainty? Could that be surrender? Is to almost say, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I trust the right thing will happen. Eventually it will
It's
probably be okay.
the first step in surrender is being okay with the certainty.
Mm-hmm.
And the certainty was I didn't have the money.
Okay, interesting. So you
so,
find
so
certainty
from,
somewhere first.
so, well, that's also called responsibility.
Sure, I
I
got
didn't
you.
make up some half-assed story. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
completely honest with what
Yes.
was going on. Okay.
Okay.
So I said, well, surrender will take me to clarity.
Mm,
And the only way I'm going to get to
yeah.
clarity is get a response from him.
Yes. Okay.
So I could send him a letter. I could do this. I found out where his office was.
Yeah.
I drove over there. And it just
Yeah.
so happened he was there and I got the clarity. But those things happen all the time, Gemma, when you work with the universe. This is not uncommon. This
Mm,
little miracle, is just an unexpected event with a positive outcome. But when your
mm,
energy is there, it creates those things. It's
yeah.
amazing what that energy creates, that energy
Mm,
of surrender.
yeah.
It's
All right. So
incredible.
in my head, I've got like a running list. It's like vulnerable, surrender, honesty, clarity. I
I'd
like
leave
all of the.
honesty. I'd leave honesty out of it.
Okay.
Too subjective a word in the physical.
Okay. All right.
Vibration. Put
Mm-hmm.
vibration in.
Yeah.
What's the vibration?
Okay. So it's more of a litmus test. It's more of
Mhm.
a, yeah, what's the balance here? Is it ever okay to not use honesty?
Well, let's get clear about something first.
Mm.
We're constitutionally incapable of being honest with ourselves.
So yeah, I guess being honest with the rest of the world might be a challenge if we can't do it with ourselves to start with.
And what you're doing, when people say, I was speaking my truth, it's like, no, you're giving me your opinion.
Yes. Oh
Give me a
God, don't
break.
even
Give me a
start me
break.
there, Bill. Oh.
Right. And wrong. This whole piece about living in extreme happiness is all
Mm,
about who you're being,
mhm.
not what you're doing.
Yeah.
We are human beings.
Mhm.
Who are you being?
Mm.
Even in the most difficult circumstances in the physical life around us, whatever it may be, death of a loved one, whatever may be happening, okay? There's always things. Who you're
Sure.
being is what brings the grace, love, and beauty to any situation.
Mm. I'm curious about the extremeness of the happiness. So I, like you, most likely, consume a lot of podcasts, and a lot of the stuff I listen to is psychology based. And there are
Love it.
some opinions that actually we shouldn't be aiming for or striving for happiness,
I
because it
agree.
it comes and goes, like it's like a tide that comes in and out, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there. So it's maybe something more like content, or
You're so right. You're so right.
yeah.
Yeah. Happiness is an illusion, right?
Mm,
But when I speak to people, they're like, well, when I work with you, what's going to happen?
mm-hmm,
And here's the truth. I can sit here and tell you for 2 hours, you wouldn't have a clue. I'm going to take
mm-hmm,
you to someplace you can't even imagine in your
mm,
wildest dreams right now. Right.
mm,
And because it's an inside game. So when you look at that, this contentment that you speak about ultimately is it.
mm.
I know
Yeah,
who I am. I know
yeah,
why I'm here. I have nothing to prove. I'm here to
mm-hmm,
share, to be open,
yeah,
to be vulnerable for the benefit of all involved.
mm-hmm,
And with that, I have the opportunity to really connect with you, Gemma,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm here to be part of you and your podcast and support that.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's the energy that we create that makes it a hit. It isn't what's
Yes.
said,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the energy we create.
Mm. Now, you said something there about, I know why I'm here. And you mentioned earlier about purpose, and they sound like they're kind of on the same bridge to me. How important is purpose for people?
Well, it's all it is. It's all there is. We have a
Mm.
very, our purpose is an extremely, extremely fine line.
Hmm.
Okay. And the only way you know you're there is how you feel.
Yeah.
It's the only way. You
Mm.
can't stay there. In fact, well, I'll tell you about the divine gifts later. You can't stay there because you're living in a world where everybody has life lessons.
Hmm.
Everybody has energy flowing through them that they don't know how to use, and it just comes out with penalties. We have a complete cosmos with all of the planets changing. We're on a
Hmm.
ball flying through space at 16,000 miles an hour, and we think we
Hmm.
have it figured out. It's
I'm in
absurd.
control.
It's so absurd. But when you back up and see the beauty of it all, and
Mm.
you start looking at it from those not being disturbances for us, but guideposts,
Hmm.
what is going on in the cosmos at this time? What is happening energetically? The only thing that's true in the physical world is how you feel.
Hmm.
Nothing else is true.
No.
Nothing. It's all a figment of your imagination from your past experiences. And it's
Mm.
combined with these huge blind spots. The boundaries of our ignorance are so tight, it's absurd. It's absurd because when you start looking at the universe, then you're really looking from a place of beauty and gratitude and to
Yeah.
seeing what's orchestrated and what's happening and the like like that situation with the gentleman that I owed him the house, the money for the house.
Hmm.
I walked out his front door, I just looked up in the sky and said, thank you.
Yeah.
These things happen for me
Yeah.
all the time. Why?
Mm.
I allow them. I
Yeah.
surrender. I get out of the way.
Yeah. I like that. I know a lot of people that I think don't necessarily have a purpose, that are kind of bumbling along, maybe a bit unconscious in some ways. Um, and but they're not fussed about it. They don't seem troubled by that.
Well,
And sometimes I wonder if I wonder what more they could do or be if they were a bit more awake. Do you know what I'm saying?
you've been very gracious in your description of people
The
who
zombies.
are living protecting what little bit they have because at least
Mm.
they know what it is.
Yeah.
Those are the people, their whole focus is getting to death safely.
Mm. Jeez, I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
It's all about getting to death safely.
Yeah. That's terrifying.
But it's true.
Yeah.
And when we die, everything you have goes to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
But everything you are stays with you forever.
Hmm. Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
the energetic. When
Hmm.
when we when we die, the milk carton stays here. The
Hmm.
our soul, our energy leaves.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all about energy.
You
So
mentioned
these,
earlier, about gratitude. Tell me how that ties in with all of this.
well, there's a number of different words,
Mm.
okay, that speak to who we're being.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude isn't appreciating something.
Mm.
Gratitude is appreciating everything.
Okay. Even the bad bits.
They aren't as bad when you have gratitude and you understand there's a lesson there. It's happening in
Yeah.
front of you,
Mhm.
and you can make a positive contribution. And if nothing else, energy.
Yeah. Mm. What do we do when we're bumping up against somebody else's energy and it's not perhaps flowing in the way that we might like it to?
Well,
So,
give me. I can answer that, but give me like, let's make that a little bit more physical and specific so
okay.
the audience.
So I'll give you an example. I have a friend who is, in my humble therapist opinion, is drinking excessively to escape from something. I'm not sure
Hmm.
what. And it's destructive
Hmm.
to relationships. Um, and they are still in a space of maybe believing, maybe convincing themselves that actually this is a good it's a fun lifestyle. It's just for fun. It's not that deep.
Hmm.
Um, and for the other people in their life, like their other close friends and family, um, we're all kind of in agreement that this is really unhealthy and
Hmm.
unhelpful. Um, but they have an opinion that no, actually, this is a good way to live their life.
Hmm.
Is
Hmm.
that a good example?
And so, with that as the example, the question again.
Hmm. So the question is, what do you do when the way that you're existing energetically is not is kind of bumping up
Got it. Got it.
against
Got it.
someone else in an
Okay.
unhelpful way?
Okay. So when you're living in a situation, or you're in any situation bumping up against something,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the only thing you're bumping up against is yourself.
Mm.
You're the only one that can change it.
Yeah.
And so if if there's somebody at work that makes you angry, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the person you're looking at is you.
Mm. That's disappointing.
It's you. No, that's exciting. The
How so?
world's a mirror. You can't see
Mm.
anything in the world but yourself.
Mm.
When you speak, you're always speaking to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting because, well, when we look at accountability and responsibility, now these are two
Mm.
words used all the time, all the time, all the time.
Sure.
Which one's better? Which one do you
Yeah.
pick?
It's a tricky choice. I would go
Yes,
with responsibility though.
you get a gold star. Accountability makes you a victim.
Mm.
Responsibility, you're taking
Yeah.
ownership.
Yes. Yeah. Makes sense.
Accountability is a word I won't use. It's
Yeah. So
like,
accountability is like I've been given this and now I'm responsible for it. Whereas responsibility is like I owned it. I took it. I made the choice.
in in one, you're answering outside yourself. In one, you're answering
Yes.
inside yourself.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Which one has the most energy? Which
Mm.
one has the power?
Yeah. Has to be within.
Responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's responsibility.
Yeah.
So in a situation where somebody's bothering you, or there's a situation like that, okay, with drinking. Now, I um, I don't even know what is this 23. So this year I'll be 35 years sober.
Congratulations to you. Good effort.
So I'm um, what am I trying to say? I have the right to speak to this.
Yes. You have some authority on the subject.
The truth of the matter is everybody needs to walk away.
Mm.
The wife, everybody.
Wow.
There's the answer.
Yeah.
Anything short of that is supporting it.
Mm.
And if you believe that, well, first of all, it sounds to me like it's behavior and such one doesn't want to be around.
Hmm.
And you believe it isn't right,
Mm.
then you choose not to be there.
Yeah.
And in situations, they have something called Al-Anon that goes along with
Yeah.
AA, okay? And it's for people living in these situations, but they're
Mm.
just a bunch of caretakers.
Yeah.
If they would stand up for themselves and take care of
Mm.
themselves,
Mm.
not only would they help themselves, then they would really help the other person because
Mm.
they would be saying, this is what it is. You can think what you want, but here's my
Mm.
choice until I know that's changed completely.
Hmm.
End of
Yeah.
conversation. And
Yeah.
you hand it back to them. It's like somebody with anger. If somebody calls me or if somebody's angry at me, anger doesn't bother me
Uh-huh.
anymore
Sure.
because I'm in balance with I understand now why, I used to be very angry. But it's like, look, I'd be happy to talk to you, but not in this tone. So can we
Mm-hmm.
change that or we'll
Yeah.
talk another time?
Yeah.
No, we're going to talk right now. Click. No, we aren't. All
Love
I
that.
requested was a peaceful conversation.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's all people are
Okay.
just always in that protection mode. What other
Mm.
questions do you have? I want to make
My
sure.
goodness. I feel like you're such a can of worms in a good way. Well, I
I
want to
have
know what,
you. I have the answer.
yeah, I want to know what happened next for you. So you had your kind of awakening. So what did you do next? How did it get from where you were at the point of crying on the floor to where you are now?
Well, it's almost a 30-year journey,
Mm.
um, and a lot of struggle, a lot of
Mm.
research, a lot of trying to piece it together. Still
Mhm.
acting, still living in the physical and survival,
Mhm.
while trying. You can't do both. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
And just more and more research and so on. The biggest change came about 15 or 16 years ago. I was at a friend's seminar on soul reclamation. And the first day of the seminar, she talked about divine gifts and went into them a bit. And then off they went. The rest of the weekend was about soul reclamation. But when she spoke about the divine gifts, it ignited something in me that, as it turns out, I obviously taught in a previous life
Mm.
because I knew everything about them. In fact, the next day, I was married at the time, and the next day, driving back to it, I was talking about them, and my wife was like, "Where is this coming from? What
Right.
do you mean?" She didn't talk about any of that. I said, "Well, it's just
Mhm.
like to me, it's like, well, if it's this, then it's got to be that, then it's got." I mean, it's like
Mhm.
I just knew all about them, and so I've been working with them ever since because our divine gifts are 7 energies that flow through our chakras.
Right.
Energies.
Yeah.
It's 7 chakras, 7 divine gifts. They start at the root chakra, go up to the crown chakra,
Mhm.
and it's divine compassion, divine creation, divine order, divine healing, divine
Mhm.
authentic self expression, divine truth, and divine power. Each of these energies carries with it um, energies that support how they're described. Yet, when you don't know what these energies are and what they're used for, the energy flows, but it comes out in penalties.
Mm.
So it In other words, it forces you to behave a certain way. You have
Okay.
no choice in the matter whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
and let me give you an example of that. Okay, I know that you've spoken to a lot of people who uh, hate confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's an energetic issue.
Mm.
Period.
Yeah.
It's not an intellectual one. They
Mm-hmm.
have divine order.
Sure.
Divine order is an energy of harmony and balance. Any
Mm-hmm.
situation that doesn't embody the balance and energy that they breathe, they aren't aware of this until they become aware of it. They like they're gone. They hate
Mm-hmm.
it when people are upset with them. They do anything to
Yes.
keep people
Yes.
happy. They hate
Yeah.
drama. That's
Yeah.
all caused by energy. And
Yeah.
it's your energy that you don't understand, because if you learn to flip the energetic switch in that
Mm-hmm.
situation, you'll dump a bucket of ice cold water on that whole situation and everything will change so fast it's crazy if you come into it with the
Yeah.
harmony and balance and love that you
Mm.
embody.
Yeah. Interesting. Is there, it sounds like for you, it was a labor of love to reach the the realizations that you've had. Is there a faster way for people to get there?
There's only one way:
What's the way?
choice.
Hmm. Okay. So if you can choose it,
Transformation at the speed of choice.
okay.
You need awareness,
Right.
and we're
Okay.
all different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I have a super conscious mastermind now and another group, with a bunch of people in it. Everybody in
Mhm.
there's different, but
Yeah.
everybody understands everybody else's energies, and
Sure.
they're hearing about the different ways people are perceiving life and the experiences they're going
Mm.
through, and they're
Yeah.
able to just choose and gain more and more and more and more awareness.
Okay. All right.
Awareness creates many options.
Yeah.
That's another thing energetically with my clients. I don't let them use the word decision. They can never make another decision in their life
Mhm.
ever. Why? Because decisions are final. They come with stress and overwhelm.
Yeah.
Decisions
Yeah.
are made outside of you.
Mhm.
You just make a choice.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Mm.
Do you feel
Nice.
the difference in the energy
I
between those
do.
two?
Yeah. 100%.
Choice is power. Choice is responsibility.
Yeah.
Choice can be changed.
Yes. Choice actually feels easier for
Simple.
me than decision. Decision sounds like I've got to really like get my head in there and
We've got to grind through this one. Yeah.
grind it. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely got that in there. Whereas choice just feels more like flowy,
Yeah.
you
What
know.
looks like the best choice?
Mm, yeah, I like that a lot. That's nice.
I bet.
Sometimes I talk to people about the difference between when they say this is going to be hard versus this is not going to be easy. And they got a similar kind of a vibe about them. Like hard, it's like, ah. Whereas it's not going to be easy. It's like, huh, okay, there's some movement to it, I guess.
Mhm. Well, the beauty of this, what isn't easy
Mm.
is working with me, is first acknowledging, looking back and learning that a lot of what you learned doesn't serve you anymore.
Mm. Hmm.
And we prove that with energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've always done this and we do this at Thanksgiving with the family. Good. How does it feel? Well, everybody gets upset, they get drunk, and it's okay.
How's
I mean,
that
go for
working
it.
for you?
Look,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of choice, but you can't sit here and
Yes.
bitch about it. Not if you choose to be
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Mm. Okay, that's good stuff. I like that. Um, Bill, I feel like I could talk to you for the next 3 hours.
We could easily. Yeah.
We could, right?
Yeah.
Tell
Maybe we
people
should
about
do it
your,
again sometime.
we definitely should. Tell people about your book. How can they access that? How can they reach you? What do they need to know?
Okay, a few things. One, they can get a free book, download a free
Mm.
book of mine. The name of it is Clarity Has No Story.
Clarity has no story. I like it.
You can download it at myfreebook.me.
Hmm.
It's all about me.
Nice.
Myfreebook.me. Okay.
Yeah.
The book I wrote, and this is all the work, everything I use when I work with clients.
Mm.
It's called The 7 Levels of Truth, A
Okay.
Direct Path to Your Life Purpose.
Yeah.
7 Levels of Truth. It is available on Amazon.
Hmm.
I don't even have a copy sitting here.
I'll
And
flash
if
one up on the screen when I,
um,
when I edit.
um, 7 Levels of Truth, you can get it at Amazon or at my website if you'd like a signed copy in the US only. Okay.
Okay.
I'll ship it free in the US. It's easier from Amazon internationally.
Sure.
If anybody has an interest in connecting with me, if you want to do a 20-minute clarity session,
Hmm.
you go to
Hmm.
speaktobill.com and you can get on my
Nice.
calendar for a 20-minute clarity session. I want to be very clear. I move very, very fast. I also give a 100% money back success guarantee.
Nice.
Let me repeat that.
Yeah.
100% money back success guarantee. What does that mean? Whatever you want, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
They can write the guarantee.
All
Because when
right.
people work with me, they get it, off they go. There's
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
because once they understand the energy, once you understand it's energetic, that's the
Hmm.
thing that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
the energy of anger is really beautiful when you know when you really can be competent with anger or handle it
Yeah.
responsibly. But it
Yeah.
but the beauty of anger and all these other feelings is follow it back to the story.
Mm.
What's the story supporting
Yeah.
anger?
I think what you do, what you teach, for me, it's what I would call a bit woo woo. Like it's out there, that the energy stuff, it's not my gig. However, I think you've sort of won me over a little bit today. Like you say things in such an eloquent way, and it actually makes logical sense, even though it's not logical. Does that make sense? That probably doesn't
Yes,
make.
and everything I said is scientifically proven.
Mm.
It's all scientifically proven, every bit of it.
Hmm.
And when you focus in the physical,
Yeah.
you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
There you go. If you
Yeah.
want to live and have things happen that just blow your mind, you come
Mm.
over to the place of love
Yeah.
and you just show up and come from a place of love no matter what it is. And you see things, I see things happen all the time. I just would say thank you. It's just,
Hmm.
you know, is my life perfect? No. But boy, I'll tell you, I
Mm.
live at a level of contentment that's
Yeah.
pretty difficult to describe.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Well done, you. You're a clever sausage, aren't you?
I just want to share what I've learned with everybody else. You
Yeah.
can't sit here and fake what I'm speaking
Hmm.
about.
Hmm.
There's no faking it.
No, no, I get that from you. And um I don't think it's something that someone could fake with the level of authenticity that you have in how
Mhm.
you say what you say. So yeah,
But
I believe you. Yeah.
if you're a skeptic, call me because I'm all out. I ran out of skeptics. I'm looking for more.
Brilliant.
I've
You're gonna
flunked.
wear them down.
I there's nothing to wear down. There's nothing here. I'm not here to convince you of anything.
Hmm.
You heard some things that clicked with your soul. That's what happened, not
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. In agreement with you there. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Such a wonderful opportunity to be here. I really have appreciated your questions. Been wonderful, Gemma. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So do you see what I mean? Like, the man says profound things. Purpose versus zombies. Their whole purpose, those people that live like zombies, their whole purpose is getting to death safely. I was like, bam! That really hit me, because I feel like I know people like that. I really hope I'm not one of them. I hope people don't say that about me. She's just one of those people who's thinking about how to get to death safely. I think there is a whole NLP slant on this around perception is projection. Like, the way that you are seeing the world is a reflection of how you're being in your inner world. The world is a mirror, is what Bill said to us. So if you don't like what you're seeing, maybe you don't like who you're being. It stings, but it's the truth, and I like it. I really like what he said about dealing with people with challenging behaviors, such as alcoholism. Anything short of walking away is supporting it. Ouch. You know, some of that stuff was zingy, but I believe it. I think that what he was saying had a great deal of importance and impact. I think there was a lot of stuff in there about choices versus decisions. And these are all excellent self-development milestones, pillars for us to subscribe to. So on that note, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you go ahead and click the red subscribe button. Make sure you give this audio a 5 stars on whatever podcast platform you are listening to it on. And let me know what you think about this slightly different conversation that I had there with Bill. What do you think about Bill? Bill's great, right? We like Bill, even though he's a bit woo-woo, and I wasn't scared to tell him that. I will look forward to speaking to you all again in the next show. But for now, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I'll see you on the next one. Bye! The People Building podcast was produced and edited by Gemma Bailey. You can find out more information about our products and services on peoplebuilding.co.uk, where you can also join in the conversation around specific episodes. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. It should not be considered professional advice. Unless specifically stated otherwise, we do not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organisation that is presented within the podcast, and information from this podcast should not be referenced